My fiancé said, "You two are way too boring together." I froze mid-scrape, holding a wet plate like my life just got paused. Jenna, my fiancé of 4 years, engaged for 8 months, was standing there in our future in-laws' kitchen, laughing like she'd just delivered the punchline of the century. I stared at her, unsure if I should laugh, cry, or throw the plate back. She wasn't joking, not really. She was grinning like the world had finally made sense to her. Sunday dinner had been normal. Roast beef, mashed potatoes, small talk about her dad's golf swing disasters, and the occasional eye roll at her younger brother's attempts to flirt with the waitress. Afterwards, Jenna and I stayed behind to clean up. She was scraping plates while I rinsed and stacked. Then, out of nowhere, she delivered that line, casual, cruel, and completely shocking. "You know what would be hilarious?" she said, tilting her head. "What?" I asked, already sensing disaster. "You should date my sister," she repeated, laughing. "You two make way more sense. You're both boring. She reads those heavy novels nobody can finish. You watch 3-hour documentaries no one asked for. She meal preps. You spreadsheet everything. You both drink black coffee." I held up the plate like it was a shield. "Are you breaking up with me right now?" "No, God, no," she said, waving her hands like I'd misunderstood. "I'm just saying, objectively, you two align more on a personality level. It's funny, right? You both probably asleep by 9:30 on a Saturday night. It's like destiny. Funny, right? Destiny. Wedding plans were in full swing. Deposits were paid. Invitations mailed. $4,500 photographer confirmed. And here she was, casually suggesting that the man she'd been with for 4 years, her fiancé, would be better suited for her sister. I rinsed the plate in silence, feeling my patience drain. Later that night, lying awake, staring at the ceiling while she pretended to sleep beside me, I pulled out my phone and texted her sister, Allison. "Hey, could we grab coffee this week? Need to run something by you. Thursday, 2 p.m, a small cafe." I laid out the conversation, word for word. Every cruel, careless comment Jenna had thrown at me. Allison's face shifted from worry to confusion to horror. "What? She actually said that?" She whispered. "She suggested we date." "That's horrible." We talked for over 2 hours. She liked that I listened, really listened, in a way Jenna never had. Texts started trickling in, light and effortless. Meanwhile, Jenna's behavior began to change. Girls' nights, late nights, perfume that wasn't mine. I didn't ask, didn't care. Then one afternoon, Allison sent a text that made my chest tighten. "I think I'm catching feelings for you. Tell me that's crazy, not crazy." I felt the same. I needed to end things with Jenna first. That Saturday morning, I brewed coffee, sat across from her at the kitchen table, and told her calmly, "I can't marry you. I don't want to." Her laugh, high-pitched and incredulous, filled the room. "Is this about the sister thing?" I was joking. "You weren't joking," I said firmly. "And even if you were, it showed me exactly how you see me: boring, replaceable, someone who could be swapped for her." "You're seeing someone." "Yes," I said. "Her sister. But we didn't start anything until after I ended things with you. I'm not the cheater here." The room spun into chaos. Coffee mugs shattered, screams filled the house, and my life, as I'd known it, imploded in a matter of minutes. I left that day with the weight of years of emotional dismissal lifted off my shoulders. The days after I ended things with Jenna were surreal. The apartment was eerily quiet. I moved into a small month-to-month sublet. Of course, Jenna didn't take it well. She started calling constantly, texting, showing up uninvited. One night, she screamed about how I'd ruined her life, how I'd stolen her sister. Security had to ban her from my office building. Meanwhile, mutual friends started picking sides. My phone exploded with messages, some sympathetic, most outraged. You traded up for her sister. You're a cheater, one friend wrote. I explained everything once, calmly, to anyone who would listen. Allison, of course, had it worse. Her mum called multiple times a day, guilt-tripping her, crying, insisting she must end things with me immediately. Her mum even threatened to cut her off financially. But Allison held her ground. Then came the family brunch, the monthly one, where we had intended to finally tell everyone the truth. Jenna sent a last-ditch text. Tomorrow, when you show up with her, everyone will see what a fraud you are. I screenshotted it and sent it to Allison. She looked at me, determined. We're doing this. No more hiding. The next morning, Allison and I arrived together, hands intertwined. Jenna was already there, wearing a crisp white dress, voicely for sympathy points. Her mum froze mid-set, a plate slipping from her hands. We're dating, Allison said clearly. We wanted to tell you in person. Jenna's manic laughter broke the silence. Oh, this is perfect. Absolutely perfect. You need to leave. Now, her dad snapped. Jenna shrieked. I told everyone he was cheating with her. And nobody believed me. I never cheated, I said evenly. I ended things first. Everything after that is on you. Oh please, Jenna scoffed. You were emotionally cheating. You planned this whole thing. You told me to date her. You're both boring and it makes sense. Those were your words, not mine, Allison interjected quietly but firmly. And I heard them myself. The weight of years of manipulation and gaslighting crashed down around Jenna. Allison's long-held grievances poured out how Jenna had belittled her achievements, made her feel small her entire life. The parents sat silent, absorbing it all. The balance of power had shifted. For the first time, Allison's voice was heard, her experience validated. We left the house together, knowing the battle was not entirely over. For the next few weeks, the aftermath was relentlessly messy. Jenna went full social media drama. She called the wedding venue, forcing me to contact every vendor individually. $8,000 deposit on the venue, partially lost. Legal fees piled up, $2,300 just to settle disputes with vendors. Total cost of ending the engagement, around $16,800. Worth every penny, though. The weeks after the public confrontation felt like walking through a storm that had already passed, but left debris everywhere. Jenna's world was unraveling on its own. The guy she'd been seeing during our engagement ghosted her. Her co-workers reported her for creating a hostile environment. She couldn't afford her apartment alone. Meanwhile, Allison and I found our rhythm. We moved into a cozy apartment with a balcony, enough bookshelves to house both our collections, and zero drama. Every morning, coffee. Every evening, quiet dinners, sometimes with soft music, sometimes just conversation. Jenna didn't stop trying to interfere. She called vendors, tried to convince them the wedding was still happening. and even enlisted mutual friends to convince Allison to end things. I ignored it all. Every call, every text, every visit she attempted was met with calm boundaries. Her parents cut Allison off socially, sent guilt-tripping texts. Allison's response never wavered. I'm choosing myself for once. I've lived my whole life putting others first. Not anymore. The legal and financial aftermath lingered for a while, but I had proof of everything, and the law was on my side. Jenna's reputation began to crumble. The social media campaigns, the manipulations, the lies, people saw through it eventually. Mutual friends, vendors, and even her extended family started questioning her narrative. Her parents, though slow to realize, began to pull back from blind support. Allison and I continued our quiet routine, building a foundation without drama. Simple acts, cooking together, reading in the same room, laughing at shared quirks. Every morning, coffee. Every night, quiet comfort. The chaos had forged something stronger, something quiet yet unshakable, and for the first time in years, I felt genuinely, quietly happy. Not the kind of happiness chased for validation, but happiness rooted in being seen, appreciated, and valued. Allison and I thrived because we built ours on understanding, respect, and quiet connection. Looking back, I realize it wasn't about who I left behind, but about who I finally walked toward. And that choice, quiet, simple, ordinary, was the most extraordinary one of all. Here is a smooth, coherent continuation that connects naturally after part 3, keeping the same tone, pace, and emotional depth of the story. In the months that followed, life finally began to feel steady, not dramatic, just real. The echoes of everything that happened still lingered in small ways. An occasional message from a distant friend asking for my side. A muted post from Jenna popping up through a shared connection. Or a tense holiday invitation from Allison's parents that she politely declined. But none of it carried weight anymore. What surprised me most was how healing looked nothing like I expected. It wasn't some grand epiphany or big sweeping moment. It was quiet mornings where Allison and I read side by side. It was cooking dinner together in comfortable silence. It was the way she would reach for my hand unconsciously while we crossed the street. One evening, as we sat on the balcony watching the city lights flicker, Allison leaned her head on my shoulder. "You know," she said softly, "I used to think love had to be loud. Big gestures, dramatic moments, but this feels better." I smiled because she had unknowingly voiced the same thought I'd been circling for weeks. "Yeah," I said, "this feels right." We didn't talk about Jenna much anymore. Not out of avoidance, but because she simply wasn't part of our story moving forward. The chapter had closed, sealed by truth, boundaries, and choices we no longer regretted. And for the first time in a long time, I realized something simple but powerful. Sometimes the most life-changing decision is choosing peace quietly, intentionally, and without apology, with Allison beside me. I finally understood what it meant to build a future that wasn't defined by damage or drama, but by the small, steady moments that made us feel human, grounded, and unbelievably alive. If you want, I can write part 4, a final epilogue, or expand this continuation into a smoother bridge for your YouTube video script.